My boss stood up in the middle of a company-wide meeting, pointed at me, and announced to 60 people that I was pregnant before I'd told my own mother. And then she smiled like she'd done me a favor. Okay, so back up about 3 weeks. I'm a project coordinator at a mid-sized company. I just found out I was 8 weeks pregnant, barely past the point where you even let yourself believe it's real. My husband and I hadn't told anyone yet. Not family, not friends, nobody. We were waiting until 12 weeks the way you do. I had told exactly one person at work, my boss, Dana. I had to because I needed to flag some scheduling conflicts coming up, and I figured she needed a heads up, professional courtesy. I made it crystal clear. I said verbatim, "I'm not ready for this to be public yet." She nodded. She said she understood completely. She said, and I quote, "Of course, that's totally your news to share." 3 weeks later, I'm sitting in our quarterly all hands meeting. 60 people, including the VP of our division. And Dana gets up to do her team update. She's going through her slides, project timelines, resource allocation, all the normal stuff. And then she gets to a staffing slide. She clicks to it and she goes, "I also want to flag some upcoming bandwidth shifts on my team." Fine, normal. And then she looks directly at me, and she says, "We'll be backfilling for our girl here, who's going on maternity leave later this year." So exciting, right, everyone? The room starts clapping. I want you to sit with that for a second. 60 people, applauding, and I'm sitting there with my face doing whatever my face was doing, which I can only imagine was some version of a person who just got hit by a car. After the meeting, I go straight to her office. I close the door, I'm shaking, but I keep my voice steady. I say, "Dana, I asked you to keep that private. My family doesn't even know yet." And she waves her hand, actually waves her hand at me, and goes, "Oh, I figured you'd have told everyone by now. And honestly, it's better this way, it helps with planning." Helps with planning, my pregnancy, helps with her planning. I tell her I need her to understand this was a serious breach of trust, that this was my personal medical information, and she had no right to share it without my permission. I'm being calm. I'm being professional. I'm giving her every opportunity to say, "You're right, I'm sorry, that was wrong." Instead, she goes, "I think you're being a little oversensitive given that everyone's being supportive." Oversensitive, okay. I tell her I'd like HR involved to make sure we're all on the same page about confidentiality. And she actually laughs, this short little dismissive laugh, and says, "I don't think we need to make this into a whole thing. You should be focused on taking care of yourself." No, seriously, she said that. Take care of yourself, to the person whose private medical news she just broadcast to 60 coworkers. I filed the HR complaint that afternoon, and I want to be clear I was professional. Written, documented, specific. I cited the date I disclosed, the exact confidentiality request I made, and exactly what she said in the meeting. When HR called Dana in, I was not in the room for that part, but I was in the room for the follow-up meeting, where her manager, the VP, was also present. Dana walked in and she was different, like she'd had time to get indignant about the whole thing. She sits down and the first thing she says is, "I feel like I'm being attacked for trying to celebrate someone on my team." Her manager looked at her, HR looked at her, I looked at her. And she keeps going, "I have never had an employee try to get me in trouble for being supportive. This feels retaliatory." Retaliatory, me reporting her. And that's when I said, "And okay, maybe this is the part some of you will have thoughts about." I looked right at her and said, "Dana, you disclosed my pregnancy to 60 people before my own mother knew. You can call that celebration if it helps you sleep. HR can call it whatever they need to call it. I just want to make sure it never happens to anyone else." Her manager closed his eyes for a second, just briefly, like he needed a moment. HR issued Dana a formal written warning. They said it out loud in that room with all of us present. Her manager told her directly that sharing an employee's medical information without consent, regardless of intent, was a violation of company policy and potentially of the law. And then, this is the part, he turned to me and said, "I want to apologize on behalf of leadership. This should not have happened." Dana sat there and went completely still. All that indignation just gone. She looked smaller than I'd ever seen her look. She had to send a written acknowledgement to HR that she understood the policy. She had to complete additional training. And she was removed from being my direct supervisor for the remainder of my pregnancy. I was reassigned to her manager's oversight instead. I called my mom that night, told her the actual news the way I'd wanted to. She cried. It was a good cry. But here's the thing I keep turning over. When I said what I said in that room, you can call it celebration if it helps you sleep. I know it landed hard. And part of me meant it too. Was that the professional move? Probably not. Did she deserve it? I think so. But I keep wondering if I could have been the bigger person in that moment and just didn't want to be. Honestly, though, what would you have done? Comment below.